Okay, so there's the flywheel. Here's the little axis that I have. Not very big, about 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches wide. Um, a lot of American cars like my Jeep over there. There's a lot more space to see the flywheel, view it, and get one of the universal locking tools for it. So that's why, and they do make a special tool, of course, for Mercedes, but of course, it's super expensive. So that's why I made the tool that I put on Instagram yesterday. But it simply goes in there, and the grooves. I'm not gonna push it all the way in because it's a little tight right now. Go into the teeth. I spaced that apart. I had to cut it down some, but it's wide enough to where it fits in there to where when I tightened the crankshaft pulley bolt down, I said I had to get to 300 foot-pounds, which I started with 100. Originally, to loosen the bolt on the crankshaft, don't do this at home, it's not a good idea, but it's what I had at the time because I didn't have that tool made yet. I put a wrench in here, which was tight enough underneath that to keep it in place while I loosened the bolt. And it allowed me to tighten it to 100 foot-pounds, and I was able to put something else under there. I don't remember what. Again, not the proper thing. To tighten it to 200 foot-pounds, but when I tried to go to 3, it almost instantly knocked all that stuff out. Nothing else I had would sit in there and hold that tight enough for me to be able to crank it down to 300. So hence the reason I made that tool. It's actually out of, which I don't have the part that I cut off that has the part number on it, but it was a track bar bracket, rear track bar bracket from a 99 Jeep Wrangler that I had, which I actually traded to get this car, believe it or not. But I had put a aftermarket track bar bracket on it to angle the axle better. But anyway, so I still had this laying around because I'm a bit of a hoarder. I tend to keep stuff. So to make it thick, the one layer, this part wasn't thick enough. It would slide under there, but it wouldn't engage with the thing. So I cut it in half and welded another piece. It's the first thing I've ever really welded. Never taken any classes, so it's definitely not pretty. It is very not pretty, but it gets the job done. And yeah, my grooving I got a little carried away in some of it, but I just needed to make sure that it was deep enough and would fit through those grooves. And what I did, which I don't have it out here with me, I meant to grab it. I actually had some. It's kind of like clay, but it's what some teachers use to mount posters on walls. A little kind of sticky, tacky type clay. We had tried to use that to put one of my son's posters up, but it wasn't working. So we had some extra. So I grabbed that, and I made a little flat thing about that wide, and I pressed it right here so that I could get the spacing, see the exact spacing of those, and I transferred those markings to the bracket there. But this is also where you go to spin this. If you're going to use, you go up and through there, but you can actually access, there's a drain plug on the torque converters on these. I don't know that 98, 99 had them, but I believe 97 and earlier did. But they have this little plastic flap that covers the hole the rest of the time, and you don't need it. I'll put that on a little bit. I can't do it with just one hand. But yeah, so making that tool allowed me to get that tight, and that way I was able to knock out that crankshaft pulley bolt. The crankshaft pulley looks a whole lot better than the old one. I compared them in another video, but there it sits right there. So the only other thing that I've noticed, unfortunately, is that my pulley for the air pump here is, you probably can't hear it. I can't get the camera up there. It's my phone still. Grinding a little bit. So I don't know There are people that, and that's the tensioner pulley. Some people have bypassed that pump. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I just don't want it to shred a belt on me going down the road. Which, I mean, if I'm near the house, that's one thing. But if I'm taking it on a trip, which I'd like to start doing, I don't really want that shredding a belt in the middle of nowhere. So all the other pulleys, except maybe the tensioner pulley, felt fine. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. And I may replace it, but it's actually kind of stupid expensive, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. I'll come back. I'm going to put the, like I said last time, I had the water pump in here. I'm going to get the 2 pulleys that go on it. One here and one right there. Get those on. And of course the radiator hose. And then I'm just going to kind of flush the system, or not really flush the system, but just kind of test the system, make sure that my work on the water pump, where it's sealed up, is proper, to where it's not going to be leaking everywhere. I think I said that in the last video. And then there's some other, that's kind of nasty under here. But I think a lot of this is from the O-ring on the dipstick, on the oil dipstick, is too flat and doesn't seal. So I'm thinking a lot of this oil seepage and leakage is coming from that, because that's the valve cover on the bank 1 is kind of nasty from oil, and most of the oil stuff is over on this side, unless of course there's a hydraulic leak, which is possible too. So next time I come back, I will have those pulleys on, and I might even go ahead and have the belt back on, and the radiator hose here. Then the biggest thing next is going to be the intake manifold. But for now, I'm going to put that little cover plate back on the transmission. Thanks for watching.